Strange creatures, evil beasts, and even aliens abound in our mysterious world. Sightings of unusual creatures occur daily somewhere on the planet, and we have no idea where these monsters may come from or what their intentions are. A multitude of horrific beasts terrorize communities, with many unaware of why such paranormal activity happens. Of all these mysterious cryptids, some stand out as so bizarre their encounters have been recorded over time. These are the strangest known specimens of them all. Movies and television shows can't come close to the real-life encounters people have had with weird cryptid creatures. You may assume the only place to find a dinosaur is in a museum. Think again. One such cryptid critter researchers have tried to explain is Mokele-Mbembe, a dinosaur-like creature said to inhabit the swamps of Rhodesia and Zimbabwe. The creature has been sighted many times by local tribesmen and cryptozoologists who have explored the area going back to 1909. In 2016, a travel documentary crew ventured into the wilderness and came back with many tales of the creature. It is said to still lurk the swampy lakes and jungles of the area. One tribe claimed to have actually killed one once, and after eating the flesh of the animal, they all fell sick. Mokele-Mbembe may be a dinosaur, still living well past its extinction. In any case, the locals are afraid of it, and for good reason. It's bigger than an elephant and can kill if provoked. In Britain, the Beast of Exmoor is a phantom cat said to roam the fields of Exmoor in Devon and Somerset in the United Kingdom. This massive cat is thought to be either a puma, cougar, or some other giant cat, though these cat species are not indigenous to Great Britain. Much larger than a house cat and said to prey on cattle, this beast is the terror of Exmoor. Sightings were first reported in the 1970s, although it became notorious in 1983 when a South Molton farmer named Eric Lay claimed to have lost over 100 sheep in the space of 3 months, all of them apparently killed by violent throat injuries. The Daily Express offered a reward for the capture or slaying of the beast. Farm animal deaths in the area have been sporadically blamed on the beast ever since. In 1983, in response to increased reports of livestock death and sightings of the beast, the Royal Marines staked out the Exmoor Hills. Although some Marines claim to have seen the beast through night vision equipment, no shots were fired, particularly because of the risk of the Marines' high-powered sniper rifle bullets passing straight through the creature's body and then causing injury to humans or livestock. During the search, the Marines' commanding officer was quoted as saying that their quarry behaved with high, almost human intelligence and always moved with surrounding cover amongst hedges and woods. Ultimately, the Marines were recalled from the field due to concerns they might mistakenly shoot one of several reward-seeking amateur photographers thought to be on the same hunt. By 1987, the creature was connected to over 200 farm animal deaths. More recent attacks were reported in 1995 and into the 2000s. The ministry continued to study the reported sightings before concluding that the beast was either a hoax or myth, and that the alleged sightings had been mistaken identifications of creatures native to the Exmoor area. Perhaps, but the creature is still sighted, and usually death of livestock is related to each encounter. Hellhound is a dog which embodies a guardian or a servant of hell, the devil, or the underworld. Hellhounds occur in mythologies around the world, with the best-known examples being Garmr from Norse mythology, the black dogs of English folklore, and the fairy hounds of Celtic mythology. Physical characteristics vary, but they are commonly black, anonymously overgrown, supernaturally strong, and often have red eyes or accompanied by flames. Hellhound sightings occur in almost every culture and continent on the planet. The legend of a hellhound has persisted in Meriden, Connecticut since the 19th century. The dog is said to haunt the Hanging Hills, a series of rock ridges and gorges that serve as a popular recreation area. The first non-local account came from W.H.C. Picon in the Connecticut Quarterly, in which it is described as a death omen. It is said that if you meet the black dog once, it shall be for joy. If twice, it shall be for sorrow. And the third time shall bring death. The hellhound is common across Great Britain in the form of the black dogs of English folklore. The earliest written record of the hellhound is in the 11th and 12th century Peterborough versions of the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle, which speaks of a wild hunt through the forest between Peterborough and Stamford. If their prey manages to escape, the hellhounds will pursue it relentlessly. It's best to avoid them whenever possible, or never cause one to appear in the first place. The Honey Island swamp monster, also known as the Cajun Sasquatch, is an ape-like humanoid cryptid creature similar to descriptions of Bigfoot, purported to inhabit the Honey Island swamp in St. Tammany Parish, Louisiana. It has also been described to have feline characteristics. It has become a part of Louisiana folklore, and many swamp tour companies in the area capitalize on its alleged existence. The creature is commonly described by witnesses as a large bipedal humanoid about 7 feet tall, covered with gray hair, having yellow or red eyes, and accompanied by a putrid odor. Other local names for the creature include the Riguru, Louisiana's Wookiee, and the Thing. Plaster casts of footprints said to be from the creature showcase 4 toes, not a natural trait found in primates who possess 5 toes. The first claimed sighting was in 1963 by Harlan Ford, a retired air traffic controller who had taken up wildlife photography. After his death in 1980, a reel of Super 8 film showing the creature was found among his belongings. In 1974, Ford and his friend Billy Mills claimed to have found unusual footprints in the area, as well as the body of a wild boar whose throat had been gashed. Today, the creature is still purported to inhabit the swamp and the bayous along the Pearl River. Local lore tells of a train crash that occurred near the swamp in the early 20th century, in which a traveling circus lost chimpanzees who adapted to the environment and offer a potential explanation as to the creature's origins. In any case, if you go near the swamp at night, be prepared to hear and maybe even see this elusive swamp monster. In the southern New Jersey and Philadelphia folklore of the United States, the Jersey Devil, also known as the Leeds Devil, is a legendary creature said to inhabit the forest of Pine Barrens in South Jersey. The creature is often described as a flying biped with hooves, but there are many variations. The common description is that of a bipedal kangaroo-like creature with a horse or goat-like head, leathery bat-like wings, horns, small arms with clawed hands, legs with cloven hooves, and a forked tail. It has been reported to move quickly and is often described as emitting a high-pitched, blood-curdling scream. According to popular folklore, the Jersey Devil originated with a Pine Barrens resident named Jane Leeds, known as Mother Leeds. The legend states that she had 12 children and, after finding she was pregnant for the 13th time, she cursed the child in frustration, crying that the child would be the devil. In 1735, Mother Leeds was in labor on a stormy night while her friends gathered around her. Born as a normal child, the 13th child transformed before their eyes into the Jersey Devil. Growling and screaming, the child beat everyone with its tail before flying up the chimney and heading out into the pines. In some versions of the tale, subsequent attempts by local clergymen to exorcise the creature from the Pine Barrens failed. There have been many claims of sightings and occurrences involving the Jersey Devil. According to legend, while visiting the Hanover Mill Works to inspect his cannonballs being forged, Commodore Stephen Decatur sighted a flying creature and fired a cannonball directly upon it to no effect. Joseph Bonaparte, elder brother of Napoleon, also claimed to have seen the Jersey Devil while hunting on his border town estate about 1820. During 1840, the Jersey Devil was blamed for several livestock killings. Similar attacks were reported during 1841, accompanied by tracks and screams. There was a wave of sightings in 1909, but the Jersey Devil is still seen today. So if you venture into the Pine Barrens, be aware, the Jersey Devil may still be lurking deep within this haunted forest and could set its sights on you. A dragon is a legendary creature, typically with serpentine or reptilian traits, and features which feature in the myths of many cultures. There are two distinct cultural traditions of dragons. The European dragon, derived from European folk traditions and ultimately related to Greek and Middle Eastern mythologies, and the Chinese dragon with counterparts in Japan, Korea, and other East Asian countries. But in Papua New Guinea and its surrounding islands, locals have reported sightings of a creature they call a duwas, or ropen. With a wingspan said to be up to 29 feet, the dark gray flyer possesses two leathery bat-like wings and a long tail with a diamond shape on the end. Also noted is a head crest and dermal bump, a tooth-filled beak, and razor-sharp claws. The ropen is far larger than any extinct dinosaur. It is thought to be nocturnal and give off a bioluminescent glow. A researcher studied the ropen's lights and found they moved toward the coast early at night and returned inland later. This aligned with the reports of locals who say the ropens fly out to the reef at night to feed and then return to their resting places in the mountains. In 2005, ropen investigator and explorer Gareth Gassman interviewed eyewitness Dwayne Hodgkinson, while fellow investigator Jonathan Whitcomb filmed the exchange. In the video, Hodgkinson talks about his unexpected ropen sighting in 1944. In 2015, field researchers led an expedition to nearby Umbui Island. In the village where they stayed, elders shared stories about long-ago encounters with ropen. One story told of a time when someone shot a ropen using a missionary's gun, and the meat, cooked in 3 large pots, fed the entire village. The islands of Papua New Guinea are a hotspot for dragon and ropen sightings. You may want to plan your next vacation there, but if you do, keep your eyes on the skies. You may encounter a real live dragon. When a person wholeheartedly believes what they saw, their worldview shifts to accommodate a new reality. So what do you do when you see a bird so powerful and enormous, it can only be described as thunder? The Thunderbird is a legendary creature in certain North American indigenous peoples' history and culture. It's considered a supernatural being of power and strength. It is especially important and frequently depicted in the art, songs, and oral histories of many Pacific Northwest coast cultures. but it's also found in various forms among other people of the American Southwest, East Coast of the United States, Great Lakes, and Great Plains. In modern times, it has achieved notoriety as a cryptid, similar to sightings of creatures such as Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster. The Thunderbird is said to create thunder by flapping its wings and lightning by flashing its eyes. In native mythology, the Thunderbird controls the upper world, while the underworld is controlled by the underwater panther or great horned serpent. In 1892, a man named Fred Murray reported seeing a flock near Dents Run in Cameron County, Pennsylvania. He described them as being like buzzards, but much larger, with 16-foot wingspans. And in the mid-1900s, a Thunderbird that was compared to the size of a plane was seen near the Jersey Shore. In the summer of 2010, a large bird with a very long beak was seen by 2 witnesses. A subsequent investigation turned up no further sightings. But in June of 2012, 2 girls saw a Thunderbird while camping in Chapman Township. The bird, which was estimated at a 14-foot wingspan and had no feathers on its head, it swooped low over the camp, causing the girls to run crying. A gigantic Thunderbird was sighted in Alaska in January of 2018 by a woman driving, having a wingspan nearly as wide as the road, and again in Pennsylvania on May the 26th in 2013 when 2 friends were walking through the woods near Baranathan Castle and were startled by something extraordinary. A resident of Greenville, Pennsylvania, was startled by the great size of a grayish-black creature seen soaring overhead, at first thinking it was a small airplane or ultralight aircraft. This witness observed the bird for at least 20 minutes, clearly seeing its fully feathered body and confidently estimating its wingspan to be about 15 feet and its body length at about 5 feet. This bird was seen to perch on a tree for at least 15 minutes before taking to the air again and flying off towards the south. A neighbor of this witness claimed to have seen the creature the next day, describing it as the biggest bird I ever saw. The most terrifying story about the Thunderbirds is that they occasionally attempt to carry away small animals and even children. This happened in 1977. 10-year-old Marlon Lowe and his mother, Miss Ruth Lowe, claimed that one of 2 large black birds with 8-foot wingspans tried to carry Marlon off in its claws in Lawndale, Illinois. Although several bird experts say that no bird native to Illinois could lift 70-pound Marlin, Miss Lowe says that Marlin was carried 20 feet before the bird dropped him when he struck the bird with his hand. If you go looking for Thunderbirds, visit a site and interview any recent witnesses. Take along your camera, binoculars, and a map of the area and find a big open space with a good view of the skies and nearby areas. Keep an open mind. There are mysteries out there, strange creatures that have not yet been discovered, and in the United States, the sky is as mysterious a place as anywhere else. Lake monsters are sighted throughout the world, with 3 famous creatures seen often. Ogopogo in the Okanagan Lake, Canada. Champ in Lake Champlain, Canada and the United States. And Nessie in Loch Ness, Scotland. These 3 lake monsters are often the ones that come to mind when a sighting occurs, though there are lake monsters encountered throughout the world. Depictions of lake monsters are often similar to those of sea monsters. There have been many purported sightings of lake monsters, and even some photographs, but each with serious doubts about the veracity and verifiability have risen, as with the famous Mansi photograph of Champ. The Loch Ness Monster, affectionately known as Nessie, is a creature in Scottish folklore that is said to inhabit Loch Ness in the Scottish Highlands. It's often described as large, long-necked, and with one or more humps protruding from the water. Popular interest and belief in the creature has varied since it was brought to worldwide attention in 1933. Evidence of its existence is anecdotal, with a number of disputed photographs and sonar readings. But on the 19th of April 2014, it was reported that a satellite image on Apple Maps showed what appeared to be a large creature, thought by some to be the Loch Ness Monster, just below the surface of Loch Ness, at the loch's far north. The image appeared about 98 feet long. On August 27th of 2013, tourist David Elder presented a 5-minute video of a mysterious wave in the loch. According to Elder, the wave was produced by a 15-foot solid black object just under the surface of the water. Elder was taking a picture of a swan at the Fort Augustus Pier on the southwestern end of the loch when he captured the moment. He said the water was very still at the time, and there were no ripples coming off the wave and no other activity on the water. Sonar images of the monster have been taken several times, including in 2011 and 1954. In Canadian folklore, the Ogopogo is a lake monster said to inhabit Okanawan Lake in British Columbia, Canada. Some scholars have charted the entity's development from First Nations folklore and widespread water monster folklore motifs. While driving on Highway 97 in 1968, Art Folden noticed something moving in the lake. He pulled off the road and filmed what he claimed to be footage of the alleged creature, showing a large wake moving across the water. Foldren estimated that the Ogopogo was 300 yards offshore. A computer analysis of the footage concluded it is a solid 3-dimensional object. In September 2018, there were reportedly 3 sightings, one of which was described as a giant snake-like creature that was about 49 feet long. In 2011, a cell phone video captured 2 dark shapes in the water. The footage is shaky, but reveals the creature swimming in the lake. In the 1980s, a local tourism agency offered a cash reward for a proven sighting of the beast. Greenpeace announced that the beast must be filmed and not captured. The Ogopogo was then listed as an endangered species. In American folklore, Champ or Champy is the name of a lake monster said to live in Lake Champlain, a 125-mile-long body of fresh water shared by New York and Vermont, with a portion extending into Quebec, Canada. Over the years, there have been over 300 reported sightings of Champ. Champ reportedly can be seen in a video taken by fishermen in the summer of 2005. Close examination of the images from the video may be interpreted either as a head and neck of a dinosaur-like animal, and even an open mouth in one frame and a closed mouth in the other, or as a fish or eel. 2 retired FBI forensic image analysts who reviewed the tape said it appears authentic and unmanipulated. One piece of evidence, though not a sighting per se, is the recording of sounds from within the lake by the Fauna Communications Research Institute in 2003, working as part of a Discovery Channel program. The group described the sounds as being similar to those produced by beluga whales or dolphins, neither of which are known to live in Lake Champlain. In any case, lake monsters are apparently present in many lakes around the world, and occasionally they are sighted and recorded. Be it Champ, Ogopogo, or Nessie herself, you have an opportunity to see one of these beasts in its natural habitat if you visit any of the larger lakes around the world. Who knows? You may be the next to report an encounter with a real lake monster. In folklore, a werewolf is a human with the ability to shapeshift into a wolf, either purposefully or after being placed under a curse or affliction, with the transformation occurring on the night of a full moon. You may think this is only a legend, but werewolf sightings have occurred since the Middle Ages. Today, they may be called Dogman sightings, or have a specific place name for a regional creature often encountered. In upstate New York, sightings are influenced by Native American stories of the Wendigo. In Louisiana is the Rougarou, which may explain some Honey Island swamp monster sightings. Dogmen and werewolves go hand in hand, as they both appear to be upright walking dog or wolf-like canids. The Beast of Bray Road is a purported humanoid wolf-like creature allegedly witnessed in or near the rural community of Elkhorn, Walworth County, Wisconsin. The beast is most often described by witnesses as large, between 6 feet and 7 feet tall, with a humanoid-style body covered in fur or hair and with a head resembling a wolf or a bear. It is reported to have been seen moving as both a quadruped and a biped, and some reports describe it more closely to resembling a traditional werewolf or Bigfoot. Reported sightings continue, most recently in February 2018 and July 2020, when witnesses observed a large, hair-covered, upright creature in Spring Prairie and Lyons, both in Walworth County. In any case, if you drive through Michigan, Louisiana, or any number of states where cryptids have been sighted, keep an eye on the woodline and watch closely. You may see something that can only be described as a werewolf. El Chupacabra is a cryptid that is renowned for its attacks on livestock, hence the Spanish name, the goat sucker. It supposedly eats chickens, goats, and other farm animals and pets. It's been reported all over the Americas, specifically the southwestern United States, Mexico, and Puerto Rico. There are two common versions of the chupacabra. There is a reptilian kind, the true chupacabra, and a canid kind, which is also called blue dogs. There have been more than 2,000 sightings of both types. When it sucks blood, it allegedly makes an odd noise. In 1975, a series of livestock killings in the small town of Mocha were attributed to the beast. Initially, it was suspected that the killings were committed by a satanic cult, Later, more killings were reported around the island, and many farmers reported loss of animal life. Each of the animals was reported to have had its body bled dry through a series of small circular incisions. In October 2019, a video recorded by Mundo OVNI showed the results of a supposed attack on chickens in Puerto Rico. The creature is seen worldwide and often appears to be a mangy dog. But what it does to livestock is unbelievable. If you live in a farming community, watch out for the chupacabra. They are often seen in agricultural areas. Strange and bizarre creatures are seen all over the planet, on land and in the skies. No one knows where these creatures come from. Perhaps there is a paranormal vortex they enter into our world, or perhaps they are brought here. It is said there are at least 57 species of aliens visiting the Earth, and aliens like cryptids are often seen too. It could be that all the mysterious creatures that abound in folklore and in recent sightings could be intergalactic travelers themselves, or are coming through when aliens visit the planet. In any case, aliens seem to fit right in with strange creature encounters. Sometimes they're seen together, or sightings of each are not far apart. Of all the alien species that have visited our world, one of the creepiest and perhaps more aggressive is the Reptilians. Alien abduction narratives sometimes allege contact with reptilian creatures. One of the earliest reports was that of Ashland, Nebraska police officer Herbert Schreimer, who under hypnosis recalled being taken aboard a UFO in 1967 by humanoid beings with a reptilian appearance, who wore a winged serpent emblem on the side of their chests. Alien abduction cases often describe the reptile species as far more aggressive when encountered and play a huge role as the overseers of other species. In an odd twist, there are those who believe that these reptile agents from other worlds play a big role in our political system, even controlling our government from within. According to British conspiracy theorist David Icke, who first published on this theme in his 1999 work, The Biggest Secret, tall, blood-drinking, shape-shifting reptilian humanoids from the Alpha Draconis star system, now hiding in underground bases, are the force behind a worldwide conspiracy against humanity. He contends that most of the world's ancient and modern leaders are related to these reptilians, including the Rothschilds, the Bush family, and the British royal family. His conspiracy theories now have supporters in up to 47 countries, and he has given lectures to crowds of up to 6,000 people. Some adherents of the QAnon conspiracy theory have also borrowed from the reptilian conspiracy theory. Be it a theory or reality, these odd aliens do appear to be visiting Earth and could be responsible for the multitude of sightings and UFO cattle mutilations. The most common alien species is the Greys, said to be biological robots and servants to an insectoid species. These creatures are from Zeta Reticuli, a star system about 50 light years away from Earth. The Greys have been around for a long time, appearing in rock art from ancient times and described in many ancient texts. Though not as aggressive as the Reptilians, the Greys also have a sinister motive. They appear in many abduction cases and seem to be harvesting genetic material from humans to create a hybrid race, both alien and human. The Greys came to prominence with Whitney Strieber's book Communion in the 1980s. However, Betty Hill of the famous Betty and Barney Hill abduction case of the early 60s also described them, as well as Travis Walton from his 1975 abduction. The Greys are often seen with another species, the insectoids, who look like upright walking praying mantis. It is thought they are the genetic creation of the insectoids, and they control them. The Greys are thought to be created for a single purpose, and once their mission is complete, they are retired. They do not have reproductive organs and can't procreate themselves, and some think they have a short lifespan. They exist as biological robots and servants to the insectoids. Alien abductees believe these Greys are the ones abducting them, taking genetic samples and often sperm or ova from their captives. They are shown young alien hybrids and instructed to teach them emotions, as the Greys themselves seem to have no emotion at all. Under the overseeing eyes of the insectoids, they are efficient and diligent. The Greys can subdue their captives by staring into the eyes of their victim, rendering them lethargic and controllable. During the Betty Hill abduction in the early 1960s, Betty was given a pregnancy test, one that didn't exist until the late 60s. She was shown a star map that was so detailed it couldn't be confirmed as real until new star charts came out in the early 70s. Children that are abducted are often left in rooms with alien hybrids and instructed to play and socialize with them. Women are shown alien hybrid children and told it is her child and she should show love to it so it can develop normally. Alien Greys insert tracking devices into their victims so they can be traced and retrieved again if more genetic material is needed. They appear to be monitoring the human race for their own sinister agenda. There is no place on Earth you are safe from an alien abduction. The Greys and their craft are seen worldwide, and alien abductions are not subject to any particular country or continent. If they choose to take you, there is little you can do about it. The Greys will come in the night, sometimes while you are sleeping. They can move you out of your home and into their craft with ease. Once inside their UFO, they have complete control over you. Aliens have been seen with other cryptids, such as Bigfoot, and may be controlling them as well, or are in league with them. In any case, though popular in UFO folklore and often merchandised as cuddly space beings, the Greys are not the nice guys. Count your lucky stars if you have never been abducted. For those who have, it's more likely a horrendous experience and not something you would wish on anyone. Certainly not yourself. A multitude of alien creatures visit our world, and as mentioned before, the Greys appear to be biologically created minions to the insectoids. But there are actual robots arriving on Earth as well. In 1973, Charles Hickson and Calvin Parker were abducted by strange robot-like creatures with claw hands on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. These robots took the men while fishing and brought them inside their craft for a female alien to examine. These beings are also gray in color and appear to have wrinkled skin like an elephant. Their claw-like hands and grip gave the men a sinister feeling about these creatures. The abduction was horrifying for both men. Afterwards, the robots brought the men out of the craft and deposited them on the Pascagoula River shore. They also returned and visited the men again years later. The Gulf Coast, from Pascagoula to Pensacola, has become a UFO hotspot since then, with famous encounters in the Gulf Breeze area as well. Mississippi also has its version of Bigfoot, called a swamp ape, and Florida has the skunk ape. Both have been sighted as well as aliens all along the South. It would appear that aliens and cryptids have something in common, perhaps arriving from the same place, either another world or a parallel universe which exists alongside ours. In any case, they can move into our dimension with ease and often are sighted when you least expect them. When looking for bizarre paranormal creatures and cryptids, you have to keep your eyes on the skies as well as the ground. Of all the cryptids that soar through the air, crawl across the ground, and even arrive from some place in the ether, none have the popularity and elusiveness as the king of the cryptids, Bigfoot. Bigfoot, or Sasquatch, is not just an American phenomenon. Many nations have their own version. Australia has the Yowie, Canada the Bukwas, Russia the Yurien, and the Yeti in Asia. And there are South American and European versions as well. No matter where you encounter a Bigfoot, the sighting is sure to change you. The Salish Indians in the Pacific Northwest called him Sasquatch, and there are plenty of place names for this cryptid all across America. Momo in Missouri, the Honey Island Swamp Monster, the Skunk Ape, the Grassman in Ohio, and the Fault Monster in Arkansas, and the list goes on. A story from 1924, often referred to as the Battle of Ape Canyon, presents miners being attacked by large, hairy ape men that threw rocks into their cabin roof from a nearby cliff. Another one of the miners allegedly shot one with a rifle. In Falk, Arkansas in 1971, a family reported that a large, hair-covered creature startled a woman after reaching through a window. In 1974, the New York Times presented the dubious tale of Alfred Ostman, a Canadian prospector who stated that he was kidnapped and held captive by a family of Bigfoot for 6 days in 1924 in British Columbia. The 2021 Hulu documentary series Sasquatch describes marijuana farmers telling stories of Bigfoots harassing and killing people within the Emerald Triangle region in the 1970s through the 1990s, and specifically the alleged murder of 3 migrant workers in 1973. There have also been reports of dogs allegedly being killed by a Bigfoot. In the early 1990s, 911 audio recordings were made public in which a homeowner in Kitsap County, Washington, called law enforcement for assistance with a large subject, described by him as being all in black, having entered into his backyard. He previously reported to law enforcement that his dog was killed recently when it was thrown over a fence. Anthropologist Jeffrey Meldrum notes that any large predatory animal is potentially dangerous to humans, specifically if provoked, but indicates that most anecdotal accounts of Bigfoot encounters result in the creatures hiding or fleeing from people. Some amateur researchers have reported the creature moving or taking possession of intentional gifts left by humans, such as food and jewelry, and leaving items in their place, such as rocks and twigs. Bigfoot is not occasionally sighted. Bigfoot reports come in yearly, with some reports being awash with sightings, specifically in place name areas. In northeast Louisiana through the early 2000s, there was a location called Monster Central, thus dubbed due to a long period of sightings and frequency in the area. Is Bigfoot an undiscovered animal or something else? Several Bigfoot researchers have spent years in the field looking for the elusive creature and have retired and proclaimed that after all they have learned about the cryptid, they have concluded Bigfoot is indeed paranormal. Stories of glowing eyes, vanishing in broad daylight, being seen in, around, or when UFOs are sighted. Strange things happening when a Bigfoot is sighted often occur. Strange lights in the sky and other cryptids alongside Bigfoot on the ground. Many people report a putrid smell that is overwhelming, as well as feelings of dizziness and even fainting when Bigfoot is encountered. Some believe this may be a defense mechanism that Bigfoot deploys to stun curious humans and allow themselves to escape or get away. It's also something few creatures indigenous to Earth use or are capable of. Some suspect they may use infrasound to stun curious people. Infrasound is a low-level sound frequency that can cause dizziness and shock a person. Throughout modern research of Bigfoot, stories abound about people who either tried or did shoot a Bigfoot, but no body was ever recovered. Some say the Bigfoot vanished before their eyes or were completely unaffected by the bullets from their gun. If this is true, then Bigfoot has some kind of shield or protection from our firearms. Or Bigfoot is not an animal at all and has supernatural abilities. There is a split among Bigfoot researchers. Some believe the creature is simply an undiscovered primate that has somehow eluded scientific discovery. Others believe the cryptid has some sort of supernatural or paranormal abilities and may not even be indigenous to this planet. The creature could be a type of ghost or some other style of ethereal being. In any case, the frequency of sightings are increasing, just as the frequency of UFO and UAPs are on the rise. It would appear that there is some connection between the two phenomena. Could Bigfoot be an alien? A supernatural being? Or is he just a gentle giant that inhabits the wooded areas around our planet, content to just be left alone? In either case, how did he get here? Did he evolve alongside man and apes? Or was he brought here from some outside source? Is there some purpose for his being related to UFOs, and are the two unusual spectral phenomena directly responsible for the myriad of creatures we see haunting planet Earth? Bigfoot has been around for a very long time, with ancient Indians describing them in detail, as well as rock art and ancient texts describing UFOs. The two seem to be interrelated in some way. Perhaps they are just two mysteries we place together, or perhaps all the cryptids we encounter have some supernatural common source. As we study the multitude of mysteries of our haunted Earth, sightings are occurring more frequently and becoming even more bizarre. Perhaps in the future, some strange encounter with a mysterious cryptid or alien will happen and be thoroughly documented in such a way no one can deny they exist. Mysteries are only mysteries until they are solved. Perhaps you will be the one who solves the mystery of our haunted planet.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3,